Welcome to the 1990 series. My name's Amanda O'Shea, the Loving Life Coach from the Serendipity Experience, and I have with me today Del Adey-Jones from Malibu, California. Hey Del, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's lovely to see you again.
It's a long way from Wales to Malibu, hey?
Yes, it is, but it's beautiful here. It's sunny, it's gorgeous when we're not on fire. So,
how long have you lived over there, Del? How long have you been in?
About 38 years now.
38 years. Wow. So you really are a Californian.
No, I'm not. I'm a Brit that lives in California.
And what a lovely life. Yeah, what a lovely life it does seem like that you have. It's really nice to connect with you on this 1990 series. Thank you for being part of it. And nice to have met you recently in Spain, and we met on a number of occasions. And you were at my home, and we met at the Viva event, and we met on Halloween do, and so we
London conference last year, and I interviewed you a couple of weeks ago, which was fabulous.
It's funny, isn't it? Suddenly that somebody that was, you may have heard a name, suddenly have sort of become part of your world, and that's really, really lovely. Del, I know that you do these amazing studio filmed insightful conversations, and what do you describe yourself as? Are you, do you have a title as such?
I'm a 3 principles practitioner, and I'm the co-host of Insightful Conversations, which is a weekly show, not a 90 and 90 like you do. I told you put me to shame. Mine seems such a production for a week for one person, and you're like one person a day. So
bang them out.
I'm really, really impressed with you, what you're doing. So yeah. So and then I'm starting to talk and share, and I do intensives and the usual thing that we all do.
Yeah, so you're spreading the message, and yeah. So I love the title of this: Constriction to Expansion.
I know.
Yeah.
I see it in my own life incredibly. I mean, from how I used to be and who I am today, it's sort of night and day. But even beyond that, I see it constantly with the guests I have. I love them to, sharing about what their life was like before they came across the principles and what it's like now. And briefly for me, I had such a constricted life. I really believed I was my story. I played small. I felt that I wasn't good enough, and had this thing going on in my head for many, many years. And it was once I came across the principles, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to be my story. That was just a made up construct that is just, it can just sort of like blow up in a second, and a whole new life can be there. And, that's what I've been experiencing for myself, is just, even to the point, I have to share this, a number of years ago, I'd taken the Myers-Briggs test, and I was always the same number, or rather configuration of letters, and I was always an introvert. And then I had to take it recently, and I just retook it, and I was an extrovert. And I was like, how did that happen? And it happened because of the principles. And it just shows you that sort of constriction of being shy and introvert to now apparently I'm an extrovert. So yeah, I thought that was pretty amazing.
And isn't it true that it's not a permanent kind of description, and people take those things through their lives telling you that they're this or that they're that.
Exactly.
Truth permanently for
permanently. Yeah, and again, like I said, I mean, I get to see it week after week. I interviewed David Saunders. You were at the London conference last year. He opened the conference. He'd been in prison for many years.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating story. And again, it's like he had this really constricted story of who he was and what his life was going to look like. I mean, he shared with me that it wasn't about if I go to prison, it was like when I go to prison, because of the way he grew up. It was just a normal way of life for kids growing up in that area, and also given what is his parents. So it was fascinating. And now he's, you know, this incredible leader in the 3 principles. He's, you know, works in prison with other prison inmates, helps them out. And it's just miraculous.
Yeah.
I think I love this so much.
And he's the speaker at the May Recovery Centre as well. He's going to be over there at the 3 Principles Addictions and Recovery conference in Minneapolis.
I know. Yeah.
Will you be there, Del?
I am hoping to be there. Definitely on my way to Europe.
Good. Yeah, we're all crossing. Hey, we're all. You know, it's just how it seems to be that we're all flying in and flying out. I don't know how good that is for our climate crisis, but
yeah. That was another one. I just interviewed Amy Chen Mills a couple of weeks ago too, and it definitely was like, oh dear, the flying. But that's why we do these webinars, or rather these internet chats and, you know, YouTube videos and things like that, because I think a lot of people can learn a lot through this medium instead of like flying to the conferences and things. So.
Sure, and it's a great, you know, it's free. So, you know, there's no excuse of I can't afford it, or I can't afford to go on a retreat, or I can't afford to do any coaching, or I can't. You know, there's so much free stuff out there, and you know, everybody that I know that is working in private practice or whatever has done a lot of free stuff.
Oh, absolutely. That was another thing David said the other day. You know, it's like when you win the jackpot, you just, or rather the, you know, the lottery, you want to share it. And this understanding really is like winning the lottery. I mean, it's life changing. Yeah. And when you see how much your life has changed, you can't help but just want to share it with other people, whether, you know, yeah, I never let finances get in the way of me sharing what I know with other people. You know, it's too much. And that brings me also to what you're doing in Spain, and what I'm going to be hopefully doing here in April is the iHeart, bringing this understanding to younger people so they don't, you know, sort of have this life like I certainly have. I'm 60 now, and I think I lived for the first 50 years of my life, I lived in this very sort of like, you know, constricted manner of like, there was, of course I am who I am. You know, this is how I grew up. This is who I am as a result of that. And that's just it. Yeah. And so I look at younger children, and I think, my God, if we can share this with them and they don't have to go through certainly what I went through.
Yeah.
All of those years.
How helpful would that be, right?
Exactly.
So that's like hindsight, isn't it? Like, yeah, I can say that. Oh, I wish I knew this then. You know, I wish it would have helped me be a better parent. It would have helped me, you know, be a better girlfriend. It would help me be a, you know. But it's just you come across it when you come across it, and that's how we hear it. So this constriction to expansion, what is that? You know, is that something you do? Is that the name of a retreat, or the name of a?
It's the name of a talk, a couple of talks that I'm going to be doing coming up. One is a live event in LA. It's our 3P community night, and there's some other things. I've got lots of things in the works. And a 6-week program with Jackie Ford on shame, and how, you know, that's just a story that we've told ourselves that, again, you know, keeps us hiding and keeps us, you know, shame-based. It's a really, to me, it's almost like it's an emotional disease that just keeps you really small and constricted. I mean, shame in itself means that you want to hide. You know, you feel so bad about yourself that you just don't share yourself. So that's a big one. You know, and for me too, it's the sort of, I think often it's like self-rejection. And then we keep going out to other people to ask for validation. And it's so, you know, backwards, as opposed to, you know, if we just get through this understanding that we know that we're all born equal and that none of us are less than, and, you know, and that comparison that we do when we don't understand the principles is we look at other people and think they're so much more than we are, or brighter, cleverer, more talented, or whatever it is.
Yeah, like we would be more like that, right? We wish we could be more like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And what that is doing is just making us constrict even more. I mean, that self-judgment, that sort of comparison, all those things we do. But when we realize through the principles that we're all born equal, it's like that's that sort of expansion of, wow, you know, me too. I can do anything too. If I often say, I couldn't be a brain surgeon right now, but if I studied for it, I probably could.
And also, the idea hasn't popped into your head to be a brain surgeon. When the idea pops into your head, it's right for you. And so I think that's the thing, the big thing about, or what I've seen has been so helpful is, I think I used to, before many years ago, or pre-principles or whatever, or finding out about the principles, was very big on giving advice and telling people what I thought they should do, really thought I'd been helpful, and really thought that if they did things more like me, they'd be as happy as me, etc., etc. But seeing that what's right for us will show itself to us. And so it's bringing, we get to bring that alive. That's very different to what somebody else wants us to be or what wants us to do, right?
I have a saying, it's like, I think, we're all connected, we're all one, and we all have access to that well of wisdom. But how it shows up in you it's different. I mean, we all tap into that well of wisdom, but it's different for everybody, what they get out of it. But it's the same energy, the same source there. But we just, when it comes through us, it has that sort of, like we say, it's the wave, still part of the ocean, but each wave is unique. And the expression of that wave, the sort of the size, the shape, the curl, the whatever it is unique to you.
It's incredible. So, we are incredible, right? We are. Yeah. So what do you see? So you see constriction and expansion. You see expansion is something that kind of, I don't know, I guess you'd call it would be something when we understand how our system works, that sort of one of the implications is that it's just, it's we have more.
I think it's forever moving. I mean, I think that's when I think of expansion. It's energy that's moving. It's dropping off the labels and the stories, and it's just really being fresh in the moment and not having any sort of attachment to, this is my personality, this is who I am. It's just freedom. It's freedom to be just totally new moment to moment. What's next? What excites me?
And we can't predict, right? We can't predict what's coming.
Absolutely. And I also think, the constriction is when we stay in the past of like, well, this is who I've always been. And it's also when we go into the future and we get afraid by what the future looks like, that can be constricting. But when we stay in the present moment and everything's fresh, new, and unlimited potential, that feels expansive. So I'm very aware when I feel constricted, I know I'm either in the future or the past. And when I'm feeling sort of totally alive and excited and what's next, I'm like completely in the moment.
Yeah, that's nice. And and for yourself, like you said, we were talking about taking the test and being described as an introvert or whatever. Mm-hmm. And look at you now, like the creation and the passion and
Yeah, if somebody had told me even a few years ago, you'd be hosting your own radio show, especially because it's on YouTube too, so it's not just hiding behind a mic, I would have just sworn that's not me. I could never do that. Absolutely. But the fact that I'm not saying, I'm still I still have my moments of feeling a bit like, God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But you do it anyway. Yeah. I have another little really quick story to illustrate that constriction to expansion. Mm-hmm. I was a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was on a beach in Ibiza with my sister, and we were lying on the beach, and there was a couple of canoes on the beach, and it was a beautiful little cove, and she said, God, it's such a shame you're scared of water and you're claustrophobic, because a couple of weeks ago, my friend took me out of the bay, we both were in a canoe, and then you turn around and you go into this cave, and it's so low that the roof of the cave is so low, you have to either go flat on your back or lay forward, and you pull yourself through the cave, but then or tunnel rather, and then you come out to this huge big cave with a shaft of lighting of all the fish below, and it's amazing, and I'm listening to it thinking, well, if this is really true, and claustrophobia and fear of water is just the thought, then why didn't I try it? And I said, oh, let's do it. And she's like, no, please, I'm not having you freaking out in the middle of the ocean or getting claustrophobia in this tight little tunnel. And I said, no, I really, really believe that I can do this. And I did it. And I got to experience something so beautiful that unless I had challenged those thoughts, I'd never would have experienced. So that to me is an example of that constriction of staying on the beach going, no, you're right. I am claustrophobic and I am scared of water. And the expansion of getting inside that cave and seeing the most miraculous, beautiful sight. Because so it is this this restriction that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. That we're not afraid of the water because we're not in the water, so we're afraid of what we think the water is going to be like, or we're afraid of the unknown because we can't see it, whether that's jellyfish, or sharks, or whatever that might be, and all the time you made that up, all the time. And it's a self-imposed prison. I mean, it really is. And this expansion, which I think people talk about, feeling enlightened or feeling lighter, brighter, and it's that's always been available to us as well. Didn't know it. But you know now. Exactly. And that's all, isn't it? You know it now. So how wonderful. How many of these insightful conversations are you going to do? Is it infinite, or have you got like a number in your head? Have you chosen? No, it's completely infinite. It's just as long as it goes on, as long as there's fresh new people to share their experience of how the three principles has impacted their life. I mean, I've got some clients lined up that just have some of the most amazing stories. I was always attracted to those before and after shows, and I feel that that's what I get to do. I get to say, okay, what was life before you came across this understanding, and what is it now? Right. All so inspirational, and it's all in all different areas in the world. I mean, that's what I love about it. It's whether you're a mother whose daughter was anorexic or whether you were in a cult and then you got out of a cult, or whether you were in prison, or whether you were, a severe addict on the streets and homeless. I mean, there's so many stories, and, like I said, people using it in the world of equine therapy, the three principles now, and it's just unlimited. And I keep finding new exciting guests, so I'm just going to go on as long as it's... Just keep going. Well, please do carry on, because you're doing an amazing job, and it was a pleasure to be on your gig. And Del, just I look forward to our next rendezvous, and good luck with the Jackie Ford. Tell us about that again. Tell us what you're up to. It's 2 6-week programs we're going to be doing. One starting in the spring in February, and the other one online, and the other one starting, I think it's in September. They're going to be focused around shame, because that's such a constricting belief system. And there's a few different things coming up. I'll be doing something in April with Hannah Studley in LA, and possibly another. And there's a lot coming up, but it'll all be on my website, on my Facebook page. Good stuff. Well, iHeart, yes, and iHeart, of course. So get ready for that one. There's a lot of learning in that, and the energy is just coming, isn't it? We don't know where it's coming from, but the energy just seems to be flowing through us, as it does, and doing happens, right? Doing just happens. So stay in the flow, and thank you, Del. It's really lovely to talk. Thank you, my lovely. You too. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.